One of my favorite metaphors for Christianity and how we are to live as Christians is the metaphor of that we live on an island of misfit toys. We are an island of misfit toys. Now that phrase comes from the Christmas special Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which is one of my favorite TV programs. As a little kid growing up, that was one of my favorite things to watch, along with the Peanut special of Halloween and Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin. But Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was the other one. And in that special, TV special, Rudolph lands at a place where unwanted and unloved toys live. It was a place of imperfection. As Christians, discipleship means that we acknowledge that reality of our life and our world, that we are all imperfect and we live on an island of imperfection. And we are called to embrace those that are unloved and unwanted and act in a way that is loving for all. Now, the gospel today, Jesus is talking to the leaders of at the time, the chief priest and the elders of the people. And there is this debate going on. The gospel challenges us to walk in the direction of goodness, even when what we say and what we do sometimes do not match. Jesus says to the leaders, "What do you think of this case? A man had 2 sons, approached the elder and said, 'Go and work in the vineyard.' The son says, 'I'm on my way, sir,' and then never went. Then the man said to the second son, said the same thing, 'Go and work in my vineyard.' And the second son said, 'No, I will not,' but then thought about it, regretted it, and went. Which 2 did what the father wanted?" And the elders replied to Jesus, "The second son." And Jesus says, "Yes, because make it clear, the tax collectors, prostitutes, those enter the reign of God before you." The religious leaders were about living a life of perfection, and Jesus was saying the act of God's love is in the imperfect. And tax collectors and prostitutes were the extremes of imperfection at the time of Jesus. The parable that's directed to the religious leaders, it's about when we say no and we reluctantly go anyway. But sometimes we say yes and we do not show up to do the work. And Jesus says it's the actions, the sense of going, even whether we're reluctant or not. How do we walk our talk and act upon our talk? The action that speaks. The reality is those 2 sons, the one that says, "Yes, I'll go," and not, and the other one that says, "No, I'm not going to go," and thinks about it and go, that's part of all of us. All of us do that. We are faithful outcasts. We are faithful leaders. We are faithful sinners. We are faithful misfit toys that live on an island of imperfection right now called Earth. So this week, how are we going to go and work in the vineyard of our land, our experience, our livelihood, of how we live and serve one another in love? The reality is we are not perfect. None of us are. And God is willing to call us to go out and do the work anyway. This week, in our small acts of serving and love, let us move in the direction of God. Let us move in the ways that we act, however reluctant sometimes we are, that we still act in love, moving forward each day in our service of love on this great big island of misfit toys. Amen.